All right, folks, so I'm going to do a live stream, and we're just going to cover some tickers. So if there is a ticker that I'm not covering, do put it in the chat if you really want to see it. And if not, then I'll definitely cover the others over the weekend. So I just wanted to start out with Tesla. So we're just going to go on the 1 year time frame. Now, when I'm looking right here, there is, let me just take off the moving averages here for a second. So if this is your first time seeing me chart Tesla, there is this trend line that's been a support trend line for a while, and it broke right here. It bounced off, and it broke under again. So it's very important because this was a long-term trend line right here for a little over a year. And now we broke that. We're falling in this downtrend channel. We recently broke out of this downtrend channel, but now we're falling here again. So if you do look back on my weekend video, I talked about the Tesla risk ranges, which I'll definitely make another video this coming week to talk about the different risk ranges. So we're right around the bottom of the risk range for Tesla, which is pretty interesting because it's Friday. So let me throw on the moving averages again. So as we can see, we have the death cross. Happened not too long ago, end of May. So end of May, we had the death cross, and now we're kind of fading again. So I do believe if we break under this February low, then we are probably going to see pain again. And maybe we could retest double bottom, do whatever, but we'll see. Right now, this could act as support, and then we could always rally back again. So never discount that. But right now, the tenor of news is kind of looking a little bit more bearish, just because we got that non-farm payroll, and it was a little bit bullish for the dollar. So the dollar is rallying, and that's kind of what's causing a lot of pain here. So this is Tesla, and the upper risk range was around 808, which we almost pretty much hit. So I would say that there's a lot more risk going on here. I mean, I would wait it out, see if we break underneath this area, because support's probably going to come in right here around 700. So if we break under 700, then you're going to know, okay, this is probably going to go bearish. If we break down to 700 and then we bounce, then we might see another short-term bounce. But who knows how high that's going to go? Is it just going to double top out here, or what is it going to do? So now going on to the next ticker, Apple. So I do think Apple is the most interesting, and I have a lot of technicals going on here. So we have this broad trend channel that we're in on Apple right here. As you can see, we've had these tiny little trend channels here and there. So this we don't really need anymore, so I'll get rid of that. So right now we just broke out of these two trend channels. So we were in this wider trend channel right here, and then we had this accelerated sell-off in this smaller trend channel right here. So now we are breaking out of that. But if you pay attention right here, we have this resistance line that we ran into just recently. And we also have resistance right here. If you could see this wick right here, and this area where we gapped up and rallied, this was resistance right here around 154. So we didn't quite make it up to here, but we did see some resistance right here, which was basically around the bottom of this candle right here, this February candle. So as you can see, so we have resistance on both a diagonal trend line and a resistance trend line right here, so a horizontal resistance trend line. So if I'm looking at the 1 year time frame, we are currently underneath the 20-day moving average. So in just 1 day, we saw a lot of damage, so 4% down day. And we've seen this with Apple before, so definitely watch out with Apple. And if you want to see the risk ranges, just watch my old video. I'll definitely link it down below so you can find it easier. Now, let's not cover IWM. So let's take a look at Nike. So the one thing that's interesting with Nike is that we have this 50-day moving average right here, which is sitting at 122.61. And if I zoom in right here, we tapped that and we rejected. So, it's not looking too good for Nike, but I do want to note that we have this resistance trend line up here. It is entirely possible that we could break out of this 50-day moving average and then tap that as well. But, right now seeing this reject, I'm not feeling too hot about it. So right here, there is this little area of support. So we could be breaking underneath that. And if we do break beneath that, then there's not a whole lot of support here, especially if we break underneath this as well. So right here at around 116, if we break underneath that, I do think we could revisit these old lows. Let me just zoom out a little bit for you. So there's not a whole lot of support if we fall underneath this, as you can see. So now let me zoom out, see if we could see anything here. Let me take out the moving averages. Oh, okay, so I see something interesting right here. So if we look right here, this was the pre-pandemic high. So the reason why we had this strong rally right here is because we seriously bounced off it, as you can see. So, this could have continued momentum. I'm not too sure about that. That I'm not feeling too confident about. But I do feel like we're definitely going to run into resistance right around here. So the reason why this makes sense is because we have this resistance trend line right here. We also have this massive candlestick right here. This could act as resistance, the bottom of this candle right here. So right around 127, I see major resistance. So that's Nike for you. N-phase, I do think N-phase is very interesting right here. So if I zoom out right here, you can see this downtrend line right here. And you can also see that we had this major gap right here. So what we did today, we quickly tapped the top of this old gap fill. And now we're kind of fading. And if the day does end weak like this, then what this candle is going to look like, it's going to be a shooting star type candle. Now, shooting star type candles are generally very bearish. So what I do see happening is maybe we could tap the bottom of this trend line right here, which will essentially fill this gap right here, right around 182.60. So that is a possibility. If we do break above this level right here, then I do think we could see a serious rally that could go possibly to a double top right here, right around 221. But if I'm just looking at the yearly, let me throw on the Bollinger Bands. We are overextended, as you can see. So right here, this Bollinger Band, we are 2 deviations away. So 2 deviations is basically the top and the bottom of the Bollinger Band. So we are very overbought here, and I do think that the sell-off is well-deserved. So with OXY, OXY is pretty interesting. So ever since that Warren Buffett news, it's really had this massive rally. And if you follow the Warren Buffett on this trade, then you definitely profited. So right now, we have this trend line right here, this support trend line, as you can see. But we also have this other support trend line right here. And we have this resistance trend line right here. So right now, we're kind of in this rising wedge. And I do think that, we could possibly see some more price action go in here, and we could rally a little bit higher. But I do think this is going to be heavily tied to just like the oil industry in general, so do pay attention to that. We also have this dividend coming up. And let me go on the 1-year time frame. So we're far above the 50-day and the 20-day, so looking pretty bullish right now. But if we do break underneath this trend line right here, then I do think things could look a little bit more bearish, and maybe we could tap the bottom of this trend line right here. So that's OXY. Now AMD. So let's see, with AMD, I do think it's interesting that we have this trend line right here, and you can see this prior touch right here, and kind of where we're rejecting is right around here as well. So if I look right here, we shortly made it above the 100-day moving average, and it's looking like we're kind of rejecting it. So 100-day moving average is right around 107.83. And you know what? AMD has a lot of volume, so I can add AMD to the list of weekly risk ranges that I'm going to calculate over the weekend. So do look out for that. I'm going to make that video later today. And I do think it is interesting with AMD. We kind of do have this cup pattern forming out right now. So I do believe that we're highly overbought. Let's take a look at the Bollinger Bands here. So as you can see on the Bollinger Bands, we're definitely overextended. So this move is well-deserved, this sell-off. But if we do continue to sell off like this, again, we could see a shooting star type pattern. So kind of hope for a rally at the end of the day to kind of avoid this pattern. So we are 2 deviations away, which was at the top right here. And let's kind of see where can this fall if this continues to fall. Oh, another interesting thing I want to point out. So there is this bottom support line, if you kind of do pay attention right here. And I'm not sure if this has a whole lot of meaning, but I am paying attention to this top trend line that I drew, which could act as a potential channel in the future. And there is a head and shoulders right here, as you can see. Shoulder, head, shoulder. So it is entirely likely that we do draw in a lower high, which could be this right here, and this could be our lower high. But we want to pay attention, do we draw a lower low? So if we draw a lower low, that's going to be under 82 right here. And where I do think we could fall if we draw that lower low is probably going to be right here around 72-ish. So do pay attention that there is this old gap area. So this could act as support. If we do break underneath this, it's all hell is going to break loose, I swear to God, because there's no support until all the way down here at 58. So do watch out for that if we ever do get down there, which I feel like it's kind of unlikely, but if we do, I think that's going to be like an entire whole market crash scenario. So that's AMD for you. Disney, the sell-off is very strong here. So as you can see, we do have this support trend line right here. And we have this resistance trend line. So we are pretty far from the resistance trend line, but if we do see some good news in Disney, we could go back and tap that. So the 50-day right here is at 119.13. We're still quite a ways away. And I'm not feeling too bullish on Disney, just because the bottom line on Disney is about 1/3 of what it used to be. And it's trading at pretty high multiples. So I would be a little bit cautious with Disney. Maybe in the future we can recover that, but that's always a gamble. We need to see if we can recover that first. And let's kind of zoom out. Yeah, if we do zoom out, I do see something pretty interesting right here. Let me take out these trend lines just so you can see it a little bit more clear. Let me take out these moving averages. So we have this old support line right here. So support, 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 and it could act as support right down here. So we could possibly fall to maybe like these low 90s or high 90s if we continue along this area. So do watch out for that. There is this resistance line right here. So it was acting as support in the past, as you can see right here, right here, right there, and right there. So this was acting as support. You can see that we broke that. So I do think it's very critical that we broke that. I don't think we're just going to reclaim this over one day or one period or whatever. So I do find that pretty important. And we could trade within this channel for a little bit. So do pay attention to that. If we do break underneath this channel, I do think the next area is going to be this old resistance right here. So you can see those resistance right here. And then it could act as potential support. But that's all the way down here around the 80s. So Disney doesn't have a whole lot of support once we break under this area, which is right around 91. So as you can see, when I really zoom out like this, you can kind of see why Disney is a little bit dangerous, just because there's so much, there's just like so much to fall if we break underneath this area. But I mean, once we break down, that will be going all the way down like prior 2015 levels. So there is that to think about. And let's do NIO. So with NIO, I do see this top trend line right here that could act as resistance, but we're pretty far away from that, and it's kind of lining up with the 200-day moving average, as you can see. So the 200-day moving average is right here at 2862, which is pretty far away. And right now we're kind of hugging this 50-day moving average. So as you can see, we're ever so slightly above. We're basically right on it right now. So 50-day moving average is 1787. So you know, this could be a potentially good short if we close underneath that. So do watch out for that. They do have earnings coming up in a few days. Also keep in mind that you know, right now that NIO is kind of, it's probably trading with Tesla as well. So if Tesla is going to fade, then you know, possibly NIO could fade as well. And we do also have this shorter term resistance line right here. Support is going to be this line right here. So acting as support right down here, and it could act as support on another leg lower. So NIO could potentially go under $10. So definitely some risk right there. There is a old gap right here, right around 945. And then the top of that gap is going to be right around 11. And let me go ahead and check the chat, see if there's any other tickers that you guys want to see. Okay, let's see, Amazon. All right. So with Amazon, I do think it's interesting right now. We made it to, we basically drew a full entire W, and we closed right here. So if you pay attention to where this high was, it's basically right around here. So right now we are cooling off a little bit. Amazon was definitely a little bit overextended just because of that stock split news. But if you do pay attention right here, we are kind of in this channel. So here, this was resistance. And now it's kind of acting as resistance right here. Notice that it goes through this gap fill. And this is support. Has support right there, and it could act as prior support if we go, or it could act as future support if we continue to fall after the stock split. So the stock split is going to happen on Monday, the 6th. So do watch out for that. 50-day moving average is all the way down here, 2,701. You know, it could be possible that if Amazon does rally, you know, this could be like a very messy inverse head and shoulders. So this could be the head, this could be like a tiny little shoulder, and then this could roll out to be a tiny little shoulder, and maybe we see some sort of massive rally all the way up to close this gap. But you know, that's a lot of hopium right there. So I'm not betting on it, but it could entirely happen. Right now, we definitely are going back to the lower bounds of the risk range. So again, if you do watch my video on Amazon, I made a video on Amazon over the weekend a few days ago. I'll definitely link it down below as well. And you can see that right now price action is heading down to that upper risk range. So we were overextended the last few days from that risk range. So I'm just going to do one last ticker call, see if anybody wants to see more tickers. And if not, I'll try and go over the rest of them over the weekend. And I will create some timestamps down below in my description. So definitely look out for that. And at the end of today, I am going to make an overview video. So I will let everybody know when that happens. And also just pay attention to the notifications. So so just one last request on tickers, and then If there aren't any, then I'll go ahead and close this video and I'll update the description so you guys can all check it out later. Alright, so I'm not quite seeing any ticker requests right here. So I am going to go ahead and end this video right here, and I hope you guys have a good day.